Chapter 20. Showdown. The infected swarm the parking lot outside the station. They screech and shout ravenously, no longer uttering their banal nonsense from before. Something visceral has gripped them, something unseen that weighs heavy in the air. The people in the station can feel it reaching out to them, calling for them to surrender. "Join us," it wails. Larry closes the window's blinds and turns around. "Everybody ready?" The officers nod. Megan, the professor, and his team are still working in the office. Hopefully they can find some scientific solution to this problem before the town is completely overrun, but for now, they fight. Ben stands next to him. "Are you alright?" Larry looks at him, but doesn't respond. He walks over to the front doors and turns to address their little army. "This is gonna be hard," he says. "You're gonna recognize most of the people out there, but they ain't people anymore. They're husks. Shoot first, don't even think about asking questions. This is gonna be hard." He nods, satisfied with the speech, places a helmet over his face, and swings open the doors. The infected turn at the sound and scream as one. They begin to charge. One of them, a conglomeration of two people like the one Ben saw outside his window, bends backward to expose a nickel-sized orifice in its midsection. He shoves one of its fingers into the hole and sprays a mist of bright pink fluid at the officers. Several of them duck out of the way in time, but 5 of them are hit with the substance. 3 are wearing protective helmets, but the other 2 aren't so lucky. The substance peppers them, little flecks landing in their eyes and mouths. They scream and reach for their faces, clawing as if trying to peel off the skin. Isaacs grabs them by the collar and drags them back into the station before rushing out, fully protected by riot gear, to join the fight. She fires at the horror, tearing a hole in its upper left side. A half-obliterated brain flops out of the hole, dangling by its torn stem. The creature shrieks as the brown stuff begins gushing from the wound. She fires again at the opposite side. The creature collapses, but then begins dragging itself toward them. She fires again and again until the abomination stops, slumping lifelessly on the pavement. Another of the infected has been convulsing off to the side. A gross cracking sound is followed by needles of bone tearing their way through its skin. The creature stumbles toward the doors, needles continuing to break through its mottled flesh. It collapses in a formless heap before the officers and quickly shrivels, firing volleys of bony darts in all directions. The damage is minimal, seeming to have harmed more of the infected than the officers, and Ben feels a wave of hope wash over him. That is, until the creatures begin to coalesce. First 2 in the back knock their skulls together. The flesh starts to fuse. They shamble awkwardly toward another, who leaps onto one of their shoulders, roots and tendrils coiling together as one. Soon, the horror is comprised of 7 bodies, then 8, then 9. Larry rushes back into the building and disappears into the armory. Isaacs orders the other officers to fire on the horror's constituent bodies. And by the time Larry returns with the flamethrower, they've dislodged 3 of the used-to-be people from the behemoth. Larry aims and fires. The Titan screams. The officers continue shooting until the creature is little more than a pile of burning lumps on the ground, and gentle silence hangs in the air. As the adrenaline wanes, the officers begin making their way back into the building to remove their gear. Davies shuts and locks the doors. He and 2 others remain there to serve as guards while Isaacs, Larry, and Ben return to the office. Some of the students are visibly shaken by what has just taken place, but many of them seem unfazed. One even lets out an aggravated groan. "This would be so much easier if we had access to the internet," he says. Isaacs turns to the detective at the desk. "Malcolm, didn't you give them the Wi-Fi password?" The detective frowns. "You don't know?" "The internet," says Larry, chest still heaving from the fight, "is down. Everywhere." "What?" cries the chief. "Why did no one tell me this?" "I thought you knew," says the detective. The chief takes a deep, centering breath. "The whole town?" The students nod. "This is bad," she says. "They're getting smarter," offers one of the students. Isaac shakes her head. "It's not them." "Then who is it?" "We need to leave now." She exits the room. Megan turns to Larry. "What in the world is she talking about?" Larry sighs. "They don't want news of this getting out." "Who is they?" "Whoever's gonna drop the bombs."